Our brains are incredible, giving us the abilities we use every single day. But you probably already knew that. Did you know that our nervous system is separated into 7 different segments? Let's go take a look at what each of those are.
The central nervous system contains our amazing overall control center, the brain. This wonderful organ is responsible for so many functions like memory, thoughts, and emotions, and so much more. The central nervous system also contains a spine, which carries neuron signals all across the body. Next is the peripheral nervous system. This is divided up into 2 parts, the autonomic nervous system and the somatic nervous system. The somatic nervous system controls voluntary functions like walking or riding. The autonomic nervous system is divided into even more parts, the sympathetic and the parasympathetic nervous systems. The sympathetic is our fight or flight mode. In times of danger, your body sends adrenaline through your veins to make you alert and ready to respond. On the other hand, the parasympathetic nervous system calms you down after a stressful situation, returning your body to its resting state.
Through all of these sections, neurons are firing at a rapid pace, up to 225 miles an hour. Come and take a look at what these neurons, sensory, motor, and interneurons look like. Before getting into specifics, let's talk about the basic form of a neuron. First, there are the dendrites, responsible for catching the signal from another neuron. Next, there is the cell body and nucleus. The nucleus helps tell the cell body what to do next, which is typically to send the signal on its way down the axon. Myelin sheaths help to boost this process, increasing the speed. The node of Ranvier, gaps between the myelin sheaths, act as a repeater to generate action potentials, which we will talk about in just a second. Finally, the signal reaches the synapses, where they get passed on to the next neuron's dendrites through a function called reuptake. Reuptake occurs when signals pass between the synapses of one neuron and the dendrites of another. As the signal reaches the dendrite, it notices that there are protein gates blocking its entry. As it nears, neurotransmitters are released into the synapse, telling the gates to open. The signal can then safely pass through. This process of reuptake ensures that nothing harmful enters the neuron and that nothing hangs out in the synapse for too long. Now let's talk about those 3 main types of neurons, starting with sensory neurons. These types of neurons bring signals from our 5 senses, allowing us to feel, including pain. Next, the motor neurons. These send signals to the muscles, making our bodies move. Finally, perhaps most importantly, is the interneuron. This neuron is responsible for sending signals between sensory and motor neurons. In fact, it makes up a large majority of the different neurons in your body. Remember how we said that neurons fire rapidly at a speed of 225 miles an hour? Neurons actually have to have a resting period between firing. This period is called the refractory period. Following the refractory period, a neuron can fire normally. Neurons only have 2 positions, on and off. There is no in between. This is referred to as the all or none principle. This all or none principle is key in the action potential. This is the process that allows neurons to send their signals. It's a rapid, temporary change in the electrical membrane potential of a neuron. At rest, a neuron has a negative charge inside the cell relative to the outside, usually around negative 70 millivolts. This is due to the unequal distribution of ions, particularly sodium and potassium, across the cell membrane. The inside of the cell contains more potassium ions, while the outside contains more sodium ions. When stimulated, the neuron opens the voltage-gated sodium channel, letting 3 sodium ions inside. When the 3 sodium ions are transferred in, there is a temporary positive charge inside. This is called depolarization. Once the membrane potential reaches a specific threshold, remember the all or none principle, an action potential is triggered. At the peak of this action potential, our voltage-gated sodium channels close, and the voltage-gated potassium channels open. This allows 2 potassium ions to leave the cell, restoring the natural balance of a negative charge inside the cell. This process is called repolarization. The neuron then returns to its resting potential as the potassium channel closes. The process is then repeated over and over.